Hey everybody, my name is Dan Shimolinski. People like to call me Chimy, and you can too. I am a bassist, sound designer, and composer living in Los Angeles, and today we're checking out another fun library. This is Synth Hits. Now this comes from the Hybrid Cinema series with a strong emphasis on the cinema part of that, because if you've been to a movie theater in the last, 20, 30 years, you've heard what a sub-hit sounds like. We talked about G-Brass and we've talked about Brahms, and yes, that stuff is all a huge part of modern cinema scoring, but the sub-hits, you already probably even know what they sound like before I've even loaded up a part. It is a hit that is just meant to just create awe and inspiration and just, oh my gosh, catastrophic. The comet has hit the earth, the robots are taking over. Sub-hits are where it's at for that, and it's just the most ubiquitous sound in modern scoring. And so, if you don't have this stuff together, I don't know what to tell you. This is kind of the backbone of making trailers, scoring, but just really great for adding drama and sustenance to any kind of major hit that you're doing. So as always, we're going to take a look at the parts that you get with sub hits, take a look at some programs, and make something from scratch. So here we go. I could be wrong, but I'm anticipating that I'm going to spend the majority of my time with you all going through these parts because they are just so perfect out of the box. I don't really even know how to describe it, but these are meant to be just used as is. They don't need any further processing. They've been dialed in to just have the perfect balance of sub information, treble information for initial impact, release, kind of your atmospheric reverb. Every single one of these parts, every single one of the keys in these parts is just tailored to perfection. And so, I think, speaking just from personal experience, we have kind of this instinct to just start like grabbing parts and seeing what works with them and trying to make these hybrid instruments. And that's great, but sometimes that causes us to overlook the libraries themselves and how good these parts are just on their own. And I really feel like this is going to be kind of the thing I want to focus on the most, is what do these parts sound like absolutely naked, no processing, straight out of the box? What are you getting? Because in my opinion, this is the strongest library for this kind of thing that you can possibly get, and I think that'll be self-evident momentarily. Now, this stuff can also be used to supplement maybe more treble-based hits from other libraries or some kind of motion effect that you have going on, but as I said, let's just jump into one of these right now. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, and they all have slightly different titles, slightly different descriptors. I found them to be pretty accurate, but in speaking with trolls, each one has a very different purpose, and I'll talk a little bit about the purpose and then show you some sounds. So starting with Movie Hits FX, these are kind of meant to be a wide range of colors. You're supposed to have a lot of different sounds with this one, definitely like from the cinematic region, all this stuff is, but this part in particular, the word movie is in it. It's definitely less about the hit, I've noticed, and more about what comes after it or around it or how that hit is shaped. So here's the demo of what Movie Hits FX 8D8 sounds like. Checking out that stereo motion. I love that one. You listen to that. You should be listening. I always forget to warn you guys, but you should always be listening to these with good speakers or good headphones, because definitely need to pick up that sub information. Woo. Incredible. Just incredible. Do you see what I mean? Like straight out of the box, just the part is like perfect. And I'm sitting here as a sound designer thinking about how much time and thought had to go into each one of those keys. I mean, just the perfect amount of reverb, the perfect delay, EQ'd perfectly so that you're getting just enough attack, but also just a huge sub presence. For me, this part is all about diversity. There's just a huge range of inspiring colors and sounds in here that really just is meant to percolate your ears and get you thinking about how you can make a really interesting hit with just a lot of harmonic information. So that's a fun one. Now, sub hits drums. This part actually comes from using some acoustic instruments as well as synth drums and kind of experimenting with blending what they sound like together. So if you're looking for more of a natural drum sound, this might be the part to go with. Let's dive into it. Because it's just like, yes, you've got your main hit and it's just like it hits you in the chest, but then there's like that motion, that texture. Very live, very cool, very unsettling. Just sounds like a big gulp. Very cool. So that's sub hits drums. You can definitely tell there's like some extra sauce mixed in there and coming from the acoustic realm. Sub hits ET. This is kind of meant to be a warmer hit. Definitely a less defined attack, kind of just a deep, warm thud, just like almost as if you put a microphone on a chest and just sampled that. That's kind of the vibe I get from this part. Just hits all the right frequencies. It's just like, it's perfect. It's in the pocket. Crushing. Same thing. Like, how do you capture so much presence and so much attack with such a sub frequency? It's perfect. So less focus on the attack. You know, it's still, every one of these parts are kind of a mixed bag of stuff, but you're definitely, you know, less focused on the attack, more focused on the vibe, the fluff around it. I think that's a really, really effective part to have. Sub hits orchestral. Okay, so apparently these were all starting out life as orchestral acoustic samples, and then were further synthesized into sub hits. You can hear it more on certain notes than others, but overall, definitely a very alive part, definitely a lot going on, maybe a little bit more what is this sound factor to your hit if that's what you're looking for. This is sub hits orchestral. Definitely some brass in there. Brahms sound, but there's more of a sub element to it than some of the Brahms stuff. There are some stunners in that one. You're hearing kind of the gritty brass, almost like pseudo string. Sounds like you're kind of hitting low strings on a piano. That's definitely like a little bit playing tricks on the ear if that's the vibe that you're going for. Sub hits synths. This is my personal favorite part, and trolls as well. This was made entirely with modern hardware synthesizers. You just get some really, really good oscillator grit here that, you know, just is meant to, like, I don't want to overuse words like grit and texture and like impact and effect, but like this is just such a visceral library. I mean, you're getting in the meat of like what excites the ear, what really makes people feel unsettled or, you know, inspiring awe. This is just such an emotional packed library. It really does kind of just punch holes through walls in the most interesting way. I don't know if we're hearing like a filter resonance action happening there. Oh, but that is a lovely overtone. I would love to one note stretch that and just make it into like an instrument. Wait, one sec. Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah. All right. Carry on. Same with that. That would be a great one note stretch. Love the massive pitch drop on that. Oof. Yeah, so definitely like your more classic oscillator filter action stuff happening there. What an amazing part. And as just like a sound designer who spent many hours trying to like create perfectly tailored synth sub hit stuff, like with all the boards that you see around me, every one of those takes a long time to get to. And, you know, if you factor in the amount of time putting in, you know, EQing it and treating it, and the motion is so good. I mean, with stereo fields that just kind of really accentuate it, if you have your monitor spread out or whatever, you can really tell a lot of thought was put into, you know, how not only this stuff is treated, but also how it moves. And lastly, Sub Hits TM. This is kind of meant to be sort of similar to Sub Hits ET, except a slight more emphasis on attack, and the hits are actually a little bit brighter. So deep hits, but with a little more emphasis put on kind of the initial attack of the hit. Hello. Thought that was like a notification on my browser or something that I left open. It's really neat. I would almost like to use the offset tool just to like grab that little flurry in there. You know what I'm talking about? really hard to, though. It's a part of the sound. That's really neat. So good. Just the perfect reverb trails on all of these. So, everything you'd ever need and more. You've got your knocks, you've got your textures, you've got your crispies, you've got your soft, you've got your warm, you've got your cold, and it's all just living in this perfectly tailored sub-region that's just going to make everything just explode, basically. This is very cool. It's actually quite frustrating. It's annoying to me because I've collected a lot of samples of like sub hits and tried to make my own over the years, and this just wipes the floor with all of them. So be clearing out some space on my computer. But let's head over to the program section now and check out some of these awesome designs here using these parts. And you know, I gotta say, we're gonna use a couple hidden gems here. I'm not sure which of these libraries are out. I know sometimes you see, well, this one's all sub hits, but as we go into it, you'll see what I mean. If you ever see something that's like, wow, that would be a really cool thing to have, just know it's in the works, and you can always request in the Discord or forums or the comments below if you see something. And I know that Trolls does read those, and you know, things do get bumped up in the schedule based on demand. So yeah, if you see something that's like, wow, wonder when that's coming out, just drop a comment. But let's start with the opposite of that. This is 100% sub hits. It's definitely a 4-part hit, all kind of one note stretched, or one note stretched for these two and this one, and then one note same for this one. So I'm guessing this is probably some kind of attack sound. And then these are more pitched, but going through some awesome treatment here. Let's peek at our matrix. Yeah, we got a low pass cutoff and the volume of part 2. So let's check it out. Very, very cool. I actually want to break down what each of these are doing. I'm always fascinated when there's like a hit like this and there's multiple parts, because I know as a sound designer, like you put a lot of thoughts into like what the role of each part is. And so let's open up this filter and just take a look here at what each part is doing. So part 1, cool. That's kind of your like sort of bodied, strong hit. That's a good starting place. Part 2, that's definitely more upper information. We've got the tone on high there, and it's just really fixated on kind of that texture, what's going on above it. And then part 3 is indeed kind of a more trebly attack. Really lovely trail. So yeah, that would be a good one note same. And then part 4, it's kind of supporting part 1. These two work together for me. Yeah. And then you get everything going, run it through all these effects. Perfect. Let's check out Deep Synths. This is from Trolls. Okay, I just noticed, so this is actually a main part. I was just really a big fan of this little trick that Trolls likes to do here with the CC to one of the gains. That looks left over from something, perhaps. So that 8K range makes a huge difference. That's one that I like to kind of use as a upper harmonic sweetener region. And, you know, if you have something where you want to have it grow or just get slightly brighter, but maybe it's not the right case for like a filter or, you know, some kind of messing with the tone of each individual part. Just a great, you know, CC modulation of one of the bands, particularly like in this region, works wonders. Desert Dub. I'm loving this. Oh man, this is my new favorite thing ever since we had that part a couple videos back where there was the, I think it was analog modular where the ramp was going to the reverb. I'm a big fan of putting LFOs on reverb wet dry, so let's check this out. Did you hear how just dropping the CCs down just really kind of made it go underwater? Very, very cool. So, you know, these are hits, but, you know, it's percussive elements too. So don't be afraid to try ARP sequences and stuff like this. Love the use of the distortion there. I think our range is pretty big on that mod wheel. Yeah, from none to all. Love it. Let's check out Dirty Desert Drums. This looks like it's another one using our ARP. That like gulp in there. That's the coolest sound. Very clever. Love it. Don't trust mirrors. Oh, I love this. So this is actually using a choral part here. So this is truly a cinematic trope that I love. It's great. You have some kind of wispy voices in the background accompanied by a big hit. We've also got some beautiful noises. I don't know if this stuff's out. You guys might be getting a real behind the scenes look at what's coming here. So got some rattlesnakes, some humans talking, and then our sub hits. You guys. That's so cool. I didn't really hear the choral part. Hold on, I want to hear what that's doing. Oh wow. So the pitch is down 2 octaves. So it's almost like we were maybe perhaps too low to hear it. Yeah, so it's like kind of just this ominous, almost like wind sounding voice hybrid thing. That's really, really cool. Oh hey. This is one I made. This is going to be another hidden gem because we are using Rain Stick, Summer Rain, and Wind and Storms. I called this one Instant Storm, I think, because it's going to give you an instant storm. If you watched my videos before, you know that's one of my favorite tricks is to put an LFO on the width and also assign that to the mod wheel. So it just, you know, creates some interesting stereo imaging, but that sounded like an instant storm to me. Sub hits kicks, and we've got another ARP here. reverse behavior there on the analog filter. Oh, that's a really, really nice one. Love how that distortion's dialed in there. Really, really great sequence. I mean, you've heard this stuff before. This is stuff that just like takes a really long time to get to perfection. But when the sounds sound as good as they do straight out of the box, combined with Soundpaint's easy interface and just all this velocity stuff, it's like, yeah, you can get where you need to go very quickly. This is Synth Hits Matrix. Super, super good. I like this one because he chose two particular sounds that I think work great together, and then one note stretched both of them. So, you know, you really get a full range of sonic possibilities with this one. Check out Monsters. Same situation here, two parts, two one-note stretches. Check that out. So it's a deep sub hit, and then you've got the orchestral layer, which, as we talked about, is kind of your more interesting acoustic derivative stuff that's going to just give you upper harmonic textures. So when that wheel goes up, that's when that part comes in. So you can have your deep sub hit, and then when you're ready, bring in the sauce. Very, very cool. Check out Plasma. 3 layers on this one, all one note stretch. So these were all chosen for very specific reasons. Awesome. Wow, that reverb trail, the shimmer, it's doing wonders. And since a lot of this stuff already has reverbs in the parts, it's interesting to sometimes put that through another reverb. You get extra trail, extra wash, extra atmosphere. This one's called Synth Hits Solar Field. That's awesome. So I'm noticing the second part is one note stretch and the third. So we're getting some, and this is from the synths. So I'm guessing that's probably where the pitch is coming from. Yeah. A little help from part number 2 there. Going through the distortion analog, scatter delay. Super awesome. Yeah, great to kind of just be able to do a tonal part every once in a while. Check out Storyteller. And I hope you're noticing how well these parts layer on top of each other. I mean, so many of these instances are multiple layers of sub hits, and that is just a testament to, you know, how they're constructed, that they just work well like that. Sometimes you have to find the sweet spot on the keyboard. Where's the perfect range for this kind of a hit? There it is. So good. I remember this one. This is one of Troll's. It's called The Holy Hit. And again, we're bringing in some choral stuff here. Humans from Beautiful Noises. This is my personal favorite. y'all hearing the LFO to the micro pitch of the choral layer? That is so dystopian. That is so... I love that so much. Woo. Oh, that's such a good program. Such a good program. And lastly, let's check out Virus. It's just like, you know, film scoring is a hard thing to do, but it's like, oh, let me just, you know, whole thing, whole trailer right there. I hope you all are gathering that these parts are just so that thing. You know what I mean? Like, it is just, it's hard to make sounds like this that are equally as impactful and big, but also incredibly clean. Are you noticing? Like, this isn't eating up your whole sub-register. You could supplement this with a higher hit, a higher instrument, a melodic instrument, you know, something, even a chordal pad. This is just like perfectly tailored to the region that you need it in, and it's just giving you exactly the amount of punch, the exact amount of awe, and the exact amount of just underbelly presence that, you know, we look for and stuff like this. And I'm just in awe. I know I spent a lot of time just going through the parts, but it's because they just, out of the box, they're so good. And then you start getting into layering stuff and, you know, running it through processing. It's like, it doesn't even really need that. Like, if I turn off all these effects and I just leave the 2 layers in there, that still sounds dope. Like, I'm fairly convinced you could randomly choose 2 completely different sounds from 2 completely different parts, put them together, and it's going to be epic just because of how thoughtful these treatments and these processes are. It's a joy to play this. And, you know, I know this is the part where we typically like go through and do some crazy hybrid instruments and stuff, which I'm happy to do with you, but at the same time, like, the beauty's in the parts on this one. I really do believe that. I don't even really know where to go, you know. I'll talk about a couple things. Obviously, like, this is like one of those deals where you could easily blend it with some kind of like piano, like if we go to the Broadwell intimate piano, right? Okay, then you drop the tone down. Let's go ahead and pick I'm just showing you how quickly we can get to some really awesome stuff here. Let's go ahead and just pick a random note. Let's do a 1-note same. That's good. That's what I'm saying. You just pick any of them and it's like perfect. And then we'll turn this guy on. Let's even go ahead and limit the register of the boom to see where I'm going with this? Just bring that piano part down. Throw on a Lexi reverb. Let's do something big, wide open. Let's see. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Check this out. So I just, I'm just trying to show you how easy it is to get to this stuff, Just literally grabbed one random note from one random part in Sub Hits, limited my register, grabbed a sensitive piano, and then threw it through a reverb. And, it's like I'm so enamored by the parts themselves that I don't want to even get into the crazy blending stuff. But, for the sake of exploration, let's try one more thing here. There's something to be said for using these as envelopes to shape other things if we're using the morph tool, which is something that I don't often go to in these tutorials, but I feel like we could find one that would maybe mesh really well with like a Brahm, right? Let's go to the Movie Hits FX and let's find our nastiest kind of already one that's in the Brahm atmosphere and see if we can add a little bit of just weight to another Brahm and see how well they morph. Let's check it out. That one's pretty Brahmy. So let's check this out. I'll go ahead and do a one note stretch on that one. Let's tune it. There we go. Let's say I want even more weight, even more hit in the chest. I'm going to go with one of these deeper hit libraries and see if I can find something that'll complement that well. Oh, I think I found it already. Yeah. That's excellent. Okay, so we'll do a one note, same for that. Amazing. And then I'm just curious, let's try this. Let's go up to our Brahms here and see what we find. Just interested in what it's gonna, I'll take out part 3 for now. And then let's just go ahead and grab one of these Brahms. And the great thing about this kind of a setup here is you can kind of just rifle through and see which one sounds good. So I'm just going to arrow down. So click there. You can hear the morph is creating a timbral difference based on the part. Pretty significant difference. That one. Let's bring that third part back in. Oh my gosh. Throw a distortion on there. Why not? Let's go even harder. And then you know what? One final reverb. Let's try plate. Plate hasn't been getting a lot of use lately. Man, that sounds great though. It's just like there's so many things you could do with these parts because just the starting source material is like, I feel silly going super far into like the trying to create ultimate. It's like they sound great out of the box. When you start to stack them, when you mess with morphing, that's just going to help a little bit even more. But it's a great library. You guys feel like you know what this thing sounds like? I feel like I know I spent a lot of time on the parts, but I'm kind of at a loss. Let's have a little bit more fun. Let's do one more fun thing here. I'm interested in finding like the most orchestral sounding hit in this orchestral part. The one where I can actually feel like I hear strings or brass. I'm just going to try and find a really organic sounding one. All right, cool. Let's grab that and go one note stretch. And then tune it. Woo! And then I kind of want to mesh it with a synth. I just want to see what... I'm intrigued by morph because, you know, the way that I always use the morph tool, I was just talking about this with someone in the Discord, but the way I always use the morph tool is I try and always think about it in the utility of an envelope, right? Like one sound is existing in the other one, and you can use one sound to shape the other sound, whether that be pitch, sample time, grit. Then there's all this kind of like, you know, stuff that comes up in the morphing function that's like almost like a lo-fi kind of sound. There's this added grit of just combining two samples together. So I'm kind of curious if we morph this with a synth part. Oh yeah, of course, you guys. Let's do it. Let's see what these Jupiter parts are like, because I do love the Jupiter library. It's super fun. I always wanted a Jupiter. You might notice there's one missing from this room. Yeah, don't need it now. And remember, we kind of do have to gain stage our pitches so that this thing up here kind of like that one because it's got a little bit of a clip of an envelope. So I feel like the sustain of the oscillator is going to play well into the sub hit, but that little clip that we get is going to give us a little bit added emphasis on the attack portion of the sub hit. I'm just curious how this is going to work. Let's try it out. So clearly, it's giving like a little thud, and then we bring some of that sub hit. Whew. Super awesome. So, you know, you can be really creative with this one, you know, but as I said before, like at the same time, I don't know if that sounds better to you than just the normal sounding hit that we found. It's got its own thing to it, you know? So it all depends on the production that you're working on. If you want to do some kind of like low bit stuff, bit crushy stuff, like you could process these hits however you want, but it is very much the intention that you don't need to process them, that they just sound great out of the box and they are kind of the thing that you need. Yeah, sorry, I hate to let you down, but I just feel like anything that I do in terms of like, you know, creating these crazy hybrid instruments or whatever is going to do a disservice to the sample at its core. But obviously you guys know that, you know, there's no shortage of possibilities in Soundpaint. The way that it's laid out definitely lends itself to stacking. And, you know, you can definitely stack the subhits on one another. A lot of the programs we went through, you know, we're using multiple levels of subhits from different parts, different libraries. Some were one note stretch, some were one note same. So, you know, the possibilities are really endless there. I think that's all I have for you today. I really don't feel that there's any better way to sell this than to show you exactly what these parts sound like, note by note. And that really is the thing that just kind of warms my heart as a sound designer, because I can just tell you, I know how much time, thought, energy went into making every single one of these notes. And then you multiply that by 6 parts, organized beautifully. If this is the kind of sound that you need, if this is what you're looking for, if you're doing trailer work, you're doing big cinema score stuff, or you want to really just have the world just blow up or have the robots come in, whatever your imagery of choice is, I can tell you as a guy who's been through many sample packs in this genre, there's nothing better than this. There's just nothing better. I wouldn't lie to you. It's ear candy every time that I play it. It's just like, oh yeah, perfect. And I can just feel the space that I need if I want to interject anything else. You know, it really, really is a special library, and it's quite good. And I really do hope you pick this up if this is something that you're looking for. But yeah, that was a little tour into what you get with sub hits, and I look forward to seeing how you guys use it. A lovely journey. Thank you so much for taking this trip with me, and I will see you next time. This is Chimy, signing out. Take care.